Welcome in, everybody, to the Final Judgment. I'm Tony Jigsaw Cutillo here. And again, powered by Heat Ratio Sports, Win Daily Sports. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, follow. You get it. Comment. Bring your reactions. I mean, do you feel it yet? Is it real enough for you yet? Listen, the Eagles absolutely destroy the New York Giants. For this New York Giants takeover, you know, whether it's the national media, whether it's the local media, whether it's the podcasters or the tweeters, everybody that said, and again, listen, this game did not go the way I predicted. I thought this game was going to be close. I thought, you know, the Giants were going to hang in there. We were going to pull away late, but the Eagles just came out right off the bat, pedal to the metal, okay? Pedal to the metal and just absolutely obliterated anything the Giants could do. And after 14-0, it was over. It was over after 14-0. Okay? Simple as that. Simple as that. It was over. Listen, we talked about before, okay, when you talk about, and Daniel Jones, for my money, could be a rookie anyway because he's so young, right? But a young quarterback coming into a very volatile environment like the Linc. Okay, we've talked about Seattle for so many years, having the Legion of Boom, right? We talked about that before, having a 13th man. Listen, at the end of the day, guess who's the 13th man? How about the Linc? How about we start talking about the Linc? Because that place was locked and loaded. It was locked and loaded, and it did not let up. So many things to talk about. So many things about talk about this game. I'm telling you, like, my mind is just absolutely blown right now because I cannot wait for next week. I'm so pumped. This game, just, you know, it's crazy because you listen to everything, right? And only in Philadelphia do you hear this kind of thing. Only in Philadelphia do you have to hear the same skepticism every single week. I'm still trying to find out who that guy was on the national media that said Danny Jones was the best quarterback in the playoffs right now over Jalen Hurts. Okay, again, you know, no disrespect to my Win Daily family, but on Thursday night when me and Glockner went on with my man Joel and my man Jay, and I specifically said to them, let's relax with the Daniel Jones talk. All of a sudden, we're acting like Daniel Jones is Joe Montana. Okay, when the Giants went in and destroyed the Vikings, everybody all of a sudden wanted them to be the next coming, right? Oh my God, the Giants are for real. When the Philadelphia Eagles destroyed the Minnesota Vikings, the only thing that we heard was, the Vikings aren't that good. Man, everything they try to do to us, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Whether you want to call it reverse psychology or not, I don't really care. It just doesn't work. There are so many game trophies that we have to give out right now to these Philadelphia Eagles. So many. Okay, number one, okay, let's just go right off the bat to the MVP himself in Jalen Hurts. Okay, starts out 7 for 7. Just an unbelievable showing from a guy who everybody thought, again, is he going to be 100%? Let me tell you something. If he's 90%, he's better than Daniel Jones. If he's 75%, he's better than Daniel Jones. If he's goddamn near 50%, he's better than Daniel Jones. Listen, this is a kid who has faced adversity his entire career. What do you expect to happen? What do you expect to happen when you have a guy who's absolutely fearless come out and just take everything that he has been like that he has sponged into his brain? What happens when he employs that at your will? You can't do anything about it. And that is the secret weapon of this team. He is the MVP for a reason. It's a continuous flow on offense when he is behind center. It is, listen, if there's any doubt that Jalen Hurts is the most important player to any team, I think tonight you just silenced everything when it comes to that, because it just showed how much this offense needs to run with Jalen Hurts. Listen, the Giants had no answer for anything. And we even went out with A.J. Brown even being the best receiver. Okay. This was just a complete team effort. We're going to get to that in a minute. One of my points from this game as far as team effort, something that I have to tip my hat to Nick Sirianni for. But, there's so many things to talk about. Let's get to some comments. My man Ivan checking in says the Vikings died for that showing from the Giants. My man Joe said, yeah, exactly. Rust. Was there any rust tonight, Joe, on Jalen Hurts? I don't think so. My man Rich says, let's go. Fans were nuts from beginning to end. They did not stop. They continued to bring the heat. The pundits, look at the Giants. They're going to beat the Eagles. Exactly, man. Come on. Listen, I at least said it was going to be close, but I did not expect the Giants to win by any means. Javon checking in. What's up, Javon? Says, great win. Love the way the defense played. Great to see the Eagles establish the running game. And Javon, that's what I was saying. A lot of people were talking about the points. They did score obviously the over, but my whole thing was, we knew at one point they were just going to continually run the ball and eat that clock, and that's exactly what they did. They showed you again with a three-headed monster that they can still run, whether it be Miles Sanders, whether it be Boston Scott, whether it be Kenny Gainwell, 112 yards. By the way, if you heard me on the radio this morning, I said Kenny Gainwell, DFS, check him out. Anytime touchdown. He was a sneaky play to me, and he produced. So hopefully you played them. 268 yards rushing tonight, my man Rich says. Yeah, Rich, unbelievable plan of attack. And I think Jalen Hurts only had 30. So for everybody that says Jalen Hurts needs to run and 50, 60, 70 yards, guess what? That's wrong again as well. A lot of people wrong, man. A lot of people wrong right now. And that's one thing. If you're going to be wrong, just say you're wrong. Okay, if you're going to be wrong, say you were wrong. That's all I want to say. Okay, I wrote some things down here, some things that I really thought inside the game as watching this. I want to get your take on this. T.J. Edwards. Again, T.J. Edwards, fantastic game. I know he took the wrong gap on that one Saquon breakout, but besides that, T.J. Edwards, if you watch the game, the way he continued to spy on Saquon Barkley in the flat, they wanted to go to Saquon Barkley so much in the flat, and guess who shut it down? T.J. Edwards, another MVP from this defense. Hassan Reddick. Can we say enough about Hassan Reddick? Listen. I remember specifically a lot of people dogging that Hassan Reddick signing. A lot of people. Nobody wanted to talk about it. I said, this guy's a secret assassin. Be careful. This is one of the quietly best free agent additions of the entire NFL. And guess what? He showed again why he is so deadly. Listen, this guy, I've never seen a guy rush the passer as much as this guy, as fluently as this guy, as proficiently as this guy, than a guy like Julius Peppers. Julius Peppers, when he was in his heyday, man, he was unguardable. And right now, Hassan Reddick is unguardable. Also, by the way, shout out to Josh Sweat coming back from a knee injury. Okay, and still looking like Javon Curse 2.0, looking like the freak out there. Again, he gets the quarterback at will. And again, can we say this? What kind of scheme were they talking about? Why were they leaving Josh Sweat uncovered every single play? What in God's name were you scripting? I actually felt bad for Danny Jones a little bit because he had nowhere to go. From the receivers being covered, okay, to guys getting wide open on the defensive line that was held the record for most sacks in the NFL. And again, he still is left wide open. Unbelievable. Just ridiculous. My man Rich says Riddick was a stud. Loved the signing when Gannon started. Exactly. That's a key point by Rich. When Gannon started using it correctly, stop dropping him in the coverage and allow him to rush the passer, which is exactly what he was signed to do. Shorty checking it says, still at work, but had to throw a shot out. Fly, Eagles fly. Oh, Shorty's always working, man. Always working. Always doing God's work right there. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Fly, Eagles fly. As always, checking in. A lot of love from the Win Daily Sports family. So many other things to talk about. And one of the other things I want to get your opinion on is, remember when Nick Sirianni, right, was all about, getting to talk about coach of the year. And all of a sudden, the national perspective came in and said, Brian Daboll. And I like Brian Daboll. I like what he was able to do this year. But he just went head to head with Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni absolutely obliterated Brian Daboll. Okay? Simple as that. He outcoached him, he out-schemed him, and he won the game. Nick Sirianni, I have to be, apologetic right now to Nick Sirianni because when they first hired Nick Sirianni and I listened to the news conference, I was on record plenty of times saying this is not the guy. How do you hire this guy? He doesn't even sound like he could string a few words together in a sentence. I'm not sure what he showed in an interview. And I'll tell you what, there couldn't be a more perfect coach for this team. And the reason why I say that is, hear me out for this, because you look at that team. And you look at a lot of guys that are either getting paid or going to be paid, right? You look at a guy, Jalen Hurts, who knows he's going to get paid, but still not paid yet. You look at a guy like A.J. Brown getting paid. Okay, you look at a guy like Devontae Smith going to get paid. You look at a guy, Miles Sanders, who doesn't even know if he's going to be on the team next year and going to get paid. And somehow, James Bradbury, another guy who was on a one-year deal, who we don't know. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, another guy who they have to look at for an extension. And all these guys, in a world where usually individualism rules out, where individual achievements are priority number one, Nick Sirianni has been able to take this team of professional men and show them that the team concept of trying to win a championship has to be priority number one, and stats are number two. And I'll tell you what, you may think that's easy, but it's not. That's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. A shout out for Nick Sirianni to be able to employ that kind of theory and environment and culture into this team. Because again, when you're dealing with grown men who are playing, yes, they love the game and it is their passion, but this is also a job, right? You make no mistake about it. These guys are playing for a paycheck. They have to. This is their job. We may go into work every day and love our job, but we still need to get paid. We're still going we're still going to work to get a paycheck, right? So let's not take that away from any of them. So when you're able to get all these guys on the same page in order to get one thing in the spotlight, which is that Lombardi trophy, shout out to Nick Sirianni, man. Shout out to Nick Sirianni for doing that. My man Rich says, look how many dream teams were assembled and failed. Exactly. And failed in the NFL. I mean, you brought in some I'm not going to go through the list, but remember, you brought in two guys, one on offense and one on defense. Both of them who were said to be cancers on their previous team. One in C.J. Gardner-Johnson and one in A.J. Brown. All we heard out of Tennessee was A.J. Brown was a selfish player because he wanted to get paid. All we heard about C.J. Gardner-Johnson was he was a selfish player and he was a problem in the locker room. I don't know about you, I don't know about you, and I know AJ Brown did get paid, okay, but AJ Brown tonight, AJ, what were AJ Brown's numbers? I don't even have to give them to you, okay? But he wasn't heavily involved. Almost had a big play at the end. But did you see AJ Brown mad? Did you see AJ Brown mad? No, not at all, because he wants to win. He wants to win again the big trophy. And like Rich says, one led the league in yardage, one led in INTs. And you saw a style of play in CJ Gardner-Johnson, a style of leadership in CJ Gardner-Johnson that you did not see in New Orleans. Again, I am telling you, man, everything is clicking right now, and it couldn't happen at a better time. How about the wide receiver blocks in this game? And I know it was talked about on the national, on the national scene. It was talked about on the broadcast. But I have to say, what Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are able to do in the blocking game is the reason why this team is so successful. You have a run game that, number one, you have the best offensive line in football. Okay, number one, dictated by the Pro Bowlers that they have along the offensive line, but dictated by the Hall of Fame offensive line coach in Mr. Stoutland, and dictated by the run game that they employ by a three-headed monster. When you have 3 to 4 to 5 guys, even Zach Pascal gets in the mix. If Quez Watkins gets in the mix, if he's in there, you got a guy like Jack Stoll out there just blocking bodies. I mean, this team, the way that they scheme and the way that they play together, it just can't be understated. It just cannot be understated, because, again, to have all these guys, being able to step up and to get their assignment, you know how hard it is to get each one of them the proper assignment and to pancake that, that assignment. And speaking of pancake, how about Jason Kelce one-handedly pancaking the defensive line from the New York Giants? You can't talk about it enough, man. You can't talk about it enough. Okay. I don't know who's next. Dallas, San Francisco. I don't think it really matters right now. Right now, you have played for everybody to come into your house, and we're going to play again in the NFC Championship game. Let that sink in, man. We are absolutely blessed in Philadelphia. We just got done a glorious run from the Philadelphia Phillies. I get it. 4-2, they go down in the World Series. But then we just go over to the NFL and enjoy this spectacular run from the Philadelphia Eagles that is nowhere near being over yet. So, again, check in. If you're out there, you're on Facebook, go follow the Final Judgment with Tony Cutillo on YouTube. Make sure you're liking the page. Make sure you're subscribing to the page. Make sure you're getting in the comments, man. How you feeling? What's your favorite part of the game? Did you hit any bets in this game? Listen, I know my man Dave Glock, they're at the game, getting in that touchdown bet for Dallas Goedert. You almost had 2. I hit on Kenneth Gainwell for the touchdown bet. Anybody lose some bets? Anybody gain some parlays in this game? Anybody have some DFS magic in this game? Anybody have some keys to the game? Who do you want to play next? Check in. Who would you rather play? Is your mind saying, I want to play Dallas for the rivalry? Is your mind saying that, I want to play the San Francisco 49ers because, again, as much as we just saw it with Daniel Jones, you have a young guy in Brock Purdy. Is he going to come into the Linc and be able to take over? I highly doubt it. I don't think he will. Okay, I don't think he will. So, again, who do you want? I want to hear from you. Who do you want to play? Because obviously we don't have to worry about saying don't look past too early. We are past. The Eagles are victorious. Okay, the Eagles are victorious. They are playing like the top team in the NFC. Okay, again, leave all the other stuff at the door. My man Rich says, bring on either team. The way they played tonight, they could be anyone in the league. And I think that's the statement of the night. I talked about earlier, I was on My Rich spits on sports. Go check him out. WENG Radio, WENG Radio, Wing Radio out in Tampa, Florida. He goes every 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings. You can catch me there next Saturday. As long as the Eagles are continuing this run, I'll be on there with him every Saturday. We're breaking it down, bringing a little Philly flavor out there to Tampa, to the Floridians that want to talk some Philadelphia sports. And the thing is, like I said, this was going to be Jalen Hurts versus Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, their number one running back, obviously their number one scoring option. That's what they need to do. And he was stopped tonight. Jalen Hurts, is he going to be 100% healthy? Is he going to be the guy? Listen, man, if he wasn't 100% tonight, I can't believe, I can't believe that he wasn't. And if he wasn't, I feel sorry to see another team go up against him when he is 100%, because this guy is driven. I can't say enough about him. Kudos to Howie for drafting the guy. It's funny. Things come around full circle. And, for you Philadelphia people out there, I'm curious to gauge your opinion here, to hear. But if you remember, when Doug Peterson was here, and there was some words, and, it came out as pretty credible, rumors that said that there was some battles in the front office between Doug and Howie. And I think, I was the first one to come out, and not the first one, to come out at all, but just, within saying that I felt that Doug knew that Carson wasn't the guy and Jalen was the guy. And, they had a lot of money invested in Carson Wentz. And I think because of that, that was one of the reasons for his exit out of there. I don't think he bought into, the theory of we have to push Carson out there. And that's the funny part. The funny part is, lo and behold, who's that guy? Doug was right. Doug knew. Doug knew that Jalen Hurts was the guy, and he's showing that he is the guy. And my man Adam, Adam, what's up, buddy? Been a long time since. What's up, Tony? The midgets went down a total blowout. Yeah, man. Listen, Adam, like I said, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting a total blowout. I know a lot of people were. A lot of people said, no way, it's going to be close. Not a chance. Some people were talking in the 40s. They didn't get to the 40s, but got damn near close. But this is an exciting team to watch. It is. This is a very, very exciting team to watch. And again, it's only going to get more exciting, right? It's only going to be more exciting. There's, Tim McManus already has some video of Slay coming out saying, stop playing with us, talking to the national media again. Again, talking to the national media, give us the respect we deserve, right? Again, listen, man, there's a lot of questions for the New York Giants too. Where do they go? Are they going to invest in Danny Jones? Which probably they are. Are they going to give a lot of money to Saquon Barkley? Will he still be? I mean, how can they not, right? How can they not? But listen, you just never know. You just never know, what is going to happen. 38-7. A huge, huge victory. My man Rich says Hurts is playing just on another level. No turnovers, reading the defense, getting the ball to the playmakers, knowing when to run, to give the ball back. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. He played like the consummate professional tonight. He played like the team leader. He played like the MVP. It's as simple as that. My man Jay checking in says, rather play the Cowboys. Interesting here. He says, Eagles are familiar with them. 49ers have a ton of talent. Giants are rebuilding. Wide gap in talent this season. Warning not to get too cocky, but it is exciting. It is. Not cocky. And the thing is, just confident, Jay. I'm just confident. Listen, I'm not going to be cocky and say that we can't be beat. But what I will say, though, is if this team is clicking on all cylinders. And again, how about shout out to Lane Johnson too, for playing for basically a torn abdomen. Okay. Again, you cannot say enough, about football players. You can't say enough about football players, man. I'm telling you. You could say what you want about Patrick Mahomes today. Probably shouldn't have been out there, but he was. You know, he was. It was the same way that Donovan McNabb shouldn't have been out there with a broken ankle against Arizona and throw 4 touchdowns. Lane Johnson is in pain. You saw he is in severe pain that he's playing through because he knows he's not a young boy anymore, and he wants a goddamn ring. You know, that's what he wants. Another one. He wants another ring, and that's the thing. These guys are hungry, man. These guys are hungry, and they're going to continue uh to feed themselves with the opponent, so to speak. Rich says, I thought it would be close to the fourth quarter, then pull away 14 points. Exactly. I said 28-24. I honestly didn't think it was going to be this close at all. 28-24 for me was going to be the score. And again, it was not. My man Woolhat, one new to the program, says, I want the 49ers to take out the boys. Yeah, listen, Woolhat, again, if you're not a subscriber, hit that like button, hit that subscription button. We greatly appreciate it. Again, a lot of people are going to say they don't want the 49ers because of that fantastic defense they have out there, because of Christian McCaffrey, right? You know, listen, I don't think you can paint a better picture than to have, number one, you beat the Giants. Number two, you have Dallas coming to our house playing for the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship. You couldn't write a better script. And again, I'm going to be honest with you. I do see, you know, a scenario like, you know, I was asked again this morning on the radio and you know, upset of the playoffs. I said, listen, the team that has the best shot is going to be the Dallas Cowboys, because again, you know, there's a reason why, you know, they are able to play so well, and that's because CMC is running the ball. But Brock Purdy can be beat. And on the other side of the ball, here's the thing. The 49ers' weakness of their defense is their secondary. And there is a ton of talent at the receiver position for the Dallas Cowboys. And if the Dallas Cowboys, that offensive line can hold off that defensive line for the 49ers just a little bit and give it extra 1 to 2 seconds. Because remember, the reason why the defensive backs are so good is because Bosa and company gets to the quarterback at will. And if they can't do that, it's going to be a long day for San Francisco. So I could definitely see that happening. Javon says, who would have thought 2 Philly teams would be in a championship game series in a span of a few months? Javon, so true. So true. And again, we could be talking about a three-peat here in the sense of, you know, the Philadelphia 76ers, because we haven't even talked about them lately. And they're just continuing to just run through everybody right now. So it's a good time to be a Philadelphia fan. I can tell you that. Rich says Lane is just a stud. He hasn't given up a sack in 2 years and still crushing and pancaking guys with a torn abdomen. You know, I've never had a torn abdomen. But I also know when I see a big man out there wincing in pain while he's trying to play, I know it's a pretty severe injury. And he's still trying to play through it. So shout out to him, man. Adam says we could be either team. I agree. Woolhat says, reason I do not want something weird to happen to our birds where the boys win. Yeah, listen, I subbed. You are the man, man. We greatly appreciate it. Again, I'll be here for post games on all the Eagles games in the playoffs. Listen, I did this for the Phillies games. We had a ton of viewership for the Phillies post games. You know, get in the comments. You know, let's engage. Go back and forth. Everybody's welcome. New York fans, Philadelphia fans, I don't care, man. I'm not going to kill anybody here. We're all talking about, you know, what our opinions are. That's what the great thing about media here, digital media, we are allowed to voice our opinions. Rich says, I have had surgery for, oh my God. He had surgery for it in November and still recovering, Rich says. So Rich knows. Here's a guy who knows what it feels like, okay? And he's not a 6'7", 325-pound lineman, right? So Rich knows how painful it is, and he's out there just, again, just being invincible, man. Being invincible. And that's what it's all about. You know, I think it was Jason Kelsey, probably last year, you know, talked about, people were saying, you know, are you playing injured? You know, how you feeling? And Jason Kelsey's like, who's not playing injured right now, right? Listen, CJ Gardner-Johnson, you think he's 100%? Probably not. Probably not, right? Josh Sweat's not, again, Josh Sweat's not 100%. Probably not. Rich says 6'4", only 6'4", 220, right? Oh, damn, Rich, you're a lot taller than me, bro. You got me. I'm about 5'6", if I'm lucky, 5'5" and a half, 5'6" with a nice pair of Fila straps with the extra sole, probably. But yeah, again, so you know how painful it is, and and Lane Johnson's pushing off, on that lower part of his abdomen against these big defensive linemen. So this is not an easy task. It's not, this is a very tall order for Lane Johnson. So listen, we got a real exciting weekend next weekend, man. Really, really exciting. And again, I will tell you this, I'm a WWE guy. So, I'm talking Royal Rumble season next weekend. We got NFL playoffs next weekend. Again, make sure you check out tomorrow night. The boys were already live. For Sirius, for over on the Win Daily Show on channel 87 XM. I'll be live helping host a show tomorrow night. Again from 9 to 12. 9 to 12 tomorrow night, Sirius XM channel 87. Check us out. We'll be breaking down all the games of the weekend. Obviously talking about the birds. Obviously talking about some best bets. So a lot of things going on tomorrow night. So make sure you're checking us out there in the Win Daily Sports family as well. Rich says, I do, man. I believe me. What before surgery, I could bend and lift. What he's doing is extraordinary. Yes, absolutely. We might see Andy at the Super Bowl. Listen, I agree, man. I agree. Yes. I agree. Listen, that's going to be interesting. I still say Philly Buffalo. That's been my preseason pick, and I'm going to continue to ride that. Especially with Mahomes, even though X-rays are negative, if Patrick Mahomes is not 100%, let me tell you something, man. If he is not 100%, they are going to have problems. Like my man Mikey Goog said, first of all, Chad Henne still in the damn league. Wow. I can't, but listen, this is why. And listen, I don't want to start anything here. Okay. I don't want to start anything. Okay. But I'm going to be honest. Like, I watch these stiffs that they bring in from the backup quarterback position and still in my head say, you're a fool if you think that Kyle Kaepernick, isn't being blacklisted from the NFL. Okay. Simple as that. Again, like these are stiffs, the quarterback position. Chad Henne, what the hell is Chad Henne doing in the NFL? Seriously, my man Javon. Yes, it's funny, Javon. I said the same thing to Mikey Googs today. I was like, Chase Daniels, another guy, right? Henne, Daniels, these guys are absolute stiffs. They should be bagging groceries. Well, my man Mikey Googs says they should be parking cars at the Pacifico dealership, right? I don't even know why they're in the league, man. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it, man. My man Kev, the cousin checking in. My man Kev checking in. What's up, Kev? Says, agree. Bring on the 49ers. I don't want Dallas. Exactly. Like, I honestly, listen, Kev, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to talk on this for a minute because, again, I will say that bringing on the 49ers is not what I want. That's the one team. That is the one team that I said before that I did not want to face. And again, the Dallas, like I know you're saying bro the 49ers, but I'm telling you, when they got Christian McCaffrey, I don't know, man. Like that really, really scared me. That running game is really good. I know we did the Saquon, just a different animal out there. But I could see, I could see your point a little bit, because Dallas did look really good last week, but I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting. Both of these teams are equally talented. Obviously, the better defense falls on the 49ers. And again, in my opinion, both have solid running games, right? I mean, listen, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but Tony Pollard is damn near close to Christian McCaffrey type level. So that's something to really watch for as well. My man tag saying inside joke, check them fingers. My man, sell me fire. Oh man, Chris, listen, Chris. A body bag game for the Eagles. My man E-Bomb checking in, a little too much love for the Giants, overachieved this year. I completely agree, 100%. Well, I was saying that earlier, 100%. Rich says, I thought Henny was done 10 years ago. He shouldn't even have been in the league, period. The dude's still hanging on. Here's two things you teach your kid growing up. If you got a boy who could play sports, tell him either be a left-handed specialist from the bullpen, okay, so he could be a reliever. He could last like Jesse Orosco years, okay, or you could be a Chad Henne or a Chase Daniels, just hold a clipboard and be a backup quarterback and just hope you never get into a game, right, and collect game checks. Because that's who. Yeah, Colin, who got to bring him up, man. It's true. How can Kaepernick not be in a league? I'm sorry. I've always said that Kaepernick should be in a league. I don't care what kind of adversity he brings. It doesn't matter. There is a spot for Colin Kaepernick, in my opinion. He should be in this league if these other stiffs are not in there. It's just listen, again, that's who I believe. It's what I believe, because these dudes should not be in here. Chase Daniels getting paid for a backup role. Exactly. Tank, not everybody can be a planner. Just remember that. Kev says, Hassan, best pickup for Howie. He was relentless tonight, not even mentioned. Kev, I was talking about that earlier, right? I remember doing pregame preseason shows. And a lot of people were talking about, rightfully so, the A.J. Brown trade. A lot of people were talking about James Bradbury. A lot of people were talking about that. And I said, look, the one guy, and I think it fell under the radar because he was the first guy signed. Remember that he was the first addition, actually big first addition in the entire NFL, let alone the Eagles. And nobody was talking about it. He kind of fell, under the radar. And again, this dude, like I said, I've never seen anybody get to the quarterback at will since a guy like Julius Peppers, who had obviously Hall of Fame career. Julius Peppers was a freak of nature. And we're watching that with Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick can do so many things. Remember, and here's the thing about Hassan Reddick. He is so athletic that he can chase you down. And that's the crazy part. And, you watch guys like Khalil Mack when he was in his prime, right? And that's the kind of, weaponry that we're talking about in Hassan Reddick, man. I mean, he is so special. A huge move by Howie. I agree. Woolhat says, agreed, preferred the Niners. Yeah, I still think it. Kev says, not that I'm afraid of Dallas. Your point about Purdy coming to the Linc. Yeah. You're right. And that's why I'm like, I'm kind of back and forth, right? I'm kind of back and forth. Like, you're right. Like I said earlier. And again, it's like you have two schools of thought here, right? You don't want to get overly confident. I do think that having a 13th man here and being a young quarterback, you can really get confused. The only difference is Kyle Shanahan, to me, is a much better coach than Brian Dable. So he will be more prepared for this kind of game. And he will probably take a lot of, that pressure off. And we're talking about, obviously, Saquon, who's an absolute stud, but the Giants do not have the offensive line that the San Francisco 49ers have. I wanted Trent Williams years ago. He's an absolute stud. He's a top 3 lineman in the entire NFL. So they have a great line. So they will be able to run the ball a little better than the Giants did tonight. But if you're talking, and that defense, the 49er defense is very, very studly. They may be able to do things, but again, their secondary is their weak part. So yeah, I think there's points for both. There's points for both. But I mean, I do honestly prefer to play the Dallas Cowboys. I do. I prefer to play the Dallas Cowboys. But just by a little bit. Just by a little bit. Rich says 49ers have a lot of weapons. Christian, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, they are tough. Only thing defensive secondary is suspect. Exactly. I think we all know that. That's the biggest thing. Shogun says, I told Bad Dog Danny Buns was trash and he blocked me. Listen, man. I'm not going to call Danny Jones trash. I'm not. I think he has a bright future. Okay, but he's a young guy. He's a young quarterback, and on paper, listen, the Philadelphia Eagles are a more talented team. It was very easy to see. It was very easy to see. It was just, listen, look what happened. in Jacksonville, I know Mahomes went down, but the Chiefs did not play the Chiefs style of football. So that game was close, and probably because he wasn't playing at 100% after the ankle injury. But still, at the same time, you never know in the NFL when a game plan doesn't go as scripted. So you gotta, you gotta take it, you gotta take a backseat every now and then, a little bit. And then obviously you start to get more comfortable as the game goes on. Um, Rich says he was like AJ Feely. Remember, he had a heart attack and couldn't find his helmet when he got called to go into a game. And yo, just think about this: AJ Feely gets traded for a second round pick to the Miami Dolphins. Man, we fleeced the Dolphins a lot over the years. God damn, did we fleece the Dolphins? Crazy. My man Walt says Tampa didn't show up. Dallas beat a losing team. They did. I will say that, but if you give, you give Dak confidence like that, and they do have. Listen, they have some weapons, man. Let's make no mistake about it. One thing that you saw tonight early that got covered up was, the one thing that we have to be careful of, and luckily CJ Gardner-Johnson is healthier now, is when you have to take issue, or I shouldn't take issue, but you basically have to pay attention to who's ever in that backfield. So tonight it was Saquon. So when you pull those linebackers up, right? So you pull a TJ Edwards up as a spy, it leaves the middle of the field wide open where a guy like Richie James is going to live. And you saw that in the beginning, like first 2 or 3 passes of Richie James, nice plays, because he was a slot guy right there inside the middle that was open. You're going to see guys like, a Dalton Schultz. You're going to see guys like a CeeDee Lamb, right? Michael Gallup is their deep guy. You're going to see guys like T.Y. Hilton. Like, they have some weapons. Then you got to worry about a two-headed monster. A little different, right? You got a power guy in Zeke who does run the ball well against us. And then you got a guy in Tony Pollard that can do so many different things. So I think that's something that we do have to pay attention to. So, that could be why Kev says, look, I'd rather play, I'd rather play the Niners because I'd rather take a chance and say, the number one position on any team is the quarterback. So who do I want to go against? You want to go against Dak or you want to go against Purdy? Because Dak won't crumble under the pressure. Well, let's not make no mistake about it. He is a professional quarterback and he's better than Brock Purdy. Okay. Simple as that. Brock Purdy is not Joe Montana. Okay. They when you get game film on these rookie quarterbacks, the second time around isn't the same way. So you do have to take that in perspective as well. So a lot of good points on both. You really do. A lot of good points from both. What do we expect from Jordan Davis next round? Again, he played well tonight. He got some push up. I saw number 90 in the backfield a few times. But listen, the biggest thing right now on this team is, their ability to get pressure with 4 guys. And when you have a defense and that's the thing, like, think about this. You think about, what the 49ers do so well, and that's get to the quarterback with their 4 guys, right? And that allows their secondary, right? Their secondary not to have to cover for that long, okay? Because the ball's got to come out quick. All right. Think about that for the Eagles, because you're talking about the 49ers secondary compared to the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. So you can rush 4 guys on this team, get home, get to the quarterback. Okay. And you have coverage guys like a Bradbury and a Slay, 2 Pro Bowl corners. Remember the days of Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent. Remember those days, right? And that was when under Jim Johnson, like the blitz. Right. But that's the funny thing, when he would like the blitz. Okay. So you have 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks that can just sit back and say, I know my defense is getting home. All right. You have a guy in Kazir White who can cover outside the backfield. Kazir White is one of the most athletic linebackers in all of football. I'll tell you what, the Eagles have to win this year because they have a ton of hard decisions to make in the offseason. I don't want to get to that, but it's so true. A ton of hard decisions to make. Hassan Reddick, Javon says, is also in the same draft class with Barnett and Holmes. Amazing season from him, and he should have received Defensive Player of the Year recognition. So true, man. So true. He got second team all defensive too. What a scam that is. How does he not get first defensive team honors? I honestly, I have no idea how he does not get that. It's crazy, but yeah, amazing season. Underpaid too. Another great contract by Howie, by the way. Another great contract by Howie. People aren't even looking at that. I think it was a $45 million deal over 3 years. Fantastic deal by Howie Roseman. Okay, for what he's bringing to this team. Again, you can't say enough. Can't say enough. Rich says rookie quarterback in the NFC chip could have nerves, but McCarthy is an idiot coach that always is good. That's the thing, right? And how about this, man? How about Nick Sirianni get fired up all over on the sideline? Like, if Nick Sirianni is not a Philly guy, I don't know who isn't a Philly guy, right? Obviously, you heard him yelling at the line judge. I know what the F I'm doing. Which is it's so fantastic. He has the passion that these players feed off of, the energy that the players feed off of, right? That's what a coach is all about. I said this before earlier. If you guys watch that Tampa Bay game, you could tell. And again, this is no disrespect to Todd Bowles, but there's obviously something going on in that team because when players walk off the field, they don't even make eye contact with Todd Bowles. There's no expression out of Todd Bowles. He just stands there, right? Just looking onto the field, shows no emotion. And I'll tell you what, your team feeds off of that. Nick Sirianni's out there shoulder bumping guys. He's fist pumping guys. He's jumping up in the air. He's having a ball. He's smacking guys on the helmet. He's smacking guys on the ass. It doesn't matter. Nick Sirianni is a player on the sideline, and that's what this team needs, and this is what they feed off of, man. And that is so huge. Rich says the Giants don't really have any good wideouts. Listen, the Giants, their best wideout should have been Kenny Galladay, right? Didn't happen. Their second best should have been Kadarius Toney. Didn't happen. Then their third best should have been Sterling Shepard. Got injured. So again, a lot of injuries for the Giants. So listen, to be able to get where they got, listen, hats off to them and Brian Dable. Adam says Danny Jones looked like Eli Manning. That's a good point. Danny Jones gave his best Eli Manning impression out there. He was like, I don't want none of this. I'm done. You saw him throw the ball away multiple times. Listen, when that team was up 21-0, that game was over. It was over. Pollard and Lamb were some weapons for Dak. Huge weapons. I agree. Sell me fire, my man. E-Bomb says, what about Lito and Brown as well? You're right. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Lito Shepard and Sheldon Brown. Obviously, I just think that they were probably number two when it comes to Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor. Obviously, Bobby Taylor was, he was specifically drafted to stop guys like Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper. Remember that. Specifically drafted because they knew they had guys like Jay Novacek and they had guys like Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin, the big, tall, physical tight end receivers. They needed a big physical guy to be able to go up and get the ball. So that was pretty that was interesting, right? I mean, when you draft one guy for a team inside your division, it just shows who you're trying to be. You think Mac's going to play? I'm not sure. Tough injury, man. Injury. Agree, Javon. Ridiculous. Exactly. Stealing money. You're right, Kev. 100%, man. Riddick was robbed of a lot of recognition this year. And you know what? Riddick doesn't even care. You know why? He just wants to win a ring. Another Temple-made player in the NFL doing big things. Rich says Sirianni's one of us. He has passion. He has that fight. Listen, Nick Sirianni is so one of us, man. So one of us. I mean, this is a guy who just bought into the Philly concept. Hey, and let's talk about this, right? Real fast. Shout out to my boys again. I always say this. I got to give a shout out to the 4th and John boys. My man Gail, Evan, Trox, Prime, them dudes. E-Rock, even though he's an alum, 4th and John alum, I should say, but he's always doing great things. Those guys are the OGs of the tailgates. And what do? They're so popular. Who gets to join their tailgates? You got Darius Slay's wife. You got Jennifer out there. You got Nick and Dominic and Sue's wife out there. Mrs. Sue, Mrs. Slay out there hanging, bringing food, bringing wine, bringing alcohol to the tailgates, breathing in to the Philly energy. You got Nick Sirianni. Shout out to Jay, Art History 101, going out there to the Art History 101 shop and grabbing all the Philly gear, wearing it on the sidelines, wearing it in the press conference. I mean, come on, man. Like, what other coach in the NFL does that? That's why this is so special. That's why for everybody out there who is a national media guy or woman for that matter, if you're out there and you're talking about, Philly and you're not from Philly, you really don't. You really don't. You don't understand what it is to be a Philly fan. You won't understand what it is to be a Philly fan unless you have been brought up in this city. It's as simple as that. It's a different mindset. All right, it's a different culture. And I know we get a bad rep and everybody wants to bring up the bad things, okay? At the end of the day, this is the most passionate fan base in America, bar none. The fans show out. You know they do for every sport. They just want energy back, and that's exactly what we're getting. Yeah, Kevin was yelling at the line judge. He loves it. It's a Philly thing. Absolutely 100%. Adam saying, what was wrong with Brown at the end of the game? He was pissed off. Brown was pissed that he didn't make that catch, man. AJ Brown was mad that he didn't get that. Listen, it was just outstretched of his arms, man. He almost had that game. He almost had that touchdown at the end. I think he was mad at himself, man. So Art History 101 just got my boy stuff from there. Listen, man, Jay is doing tremendous things at that store. The dude is amazing artist, local Philly guy, local Philly love. I have probably about 7 or 8 go to the pop-up shops all the time. Always get the art history gear when I can. I love every minute of it, man. And again, it just shows what Philly is all about. How about Reed Blankenship? He's been playing well. Was that someone who was an undrafted free agent? You know what, Javon? It's funny. I was sitting there watching the game tonight with my son, and I said to him, I said, you know what? The crazy thing is that at the end of the day, if you take this kid and give him an entire offseason of training camp and working with coaches, I think he could be a player, man. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to, just because, again, he's a white player, right? And everybody wants to compare to, Eric Weddle but I'm being honest. Like, when I say that, like, he could be an Eric Weddle type player, right? Because that's the kind of player that Eric Weddle was. He was able to hit hard in the backfield. I don't think he'll have those tremendous ball hawking abilities, but he made a nice play tonight, coming up on the ball in coverage. So again, I really, really like what Reed Blankenship brings to this defense. And again, a great find, again, signed off as an undrafted. Remember, we always find these undrafted free agent talents, man. It's crazy. Kev, I think they took him out. AJ, yeah, you know what, Kev, you're right. If that's what you were talking about, Adam, he did. It looked like he came up lame a little bit. I know he's had some issues with cramping. Sometimes his hamstrings act up. So I think that's 100% again, that, something that to keep an eye on, but again, something that just, being precautious. Nothing wrong with that. Frankfurt Ave, but yeah, man, Frankfurt Ave. As always, I spent a lot of time on Frankfurt Ave. I used to hang out right there at the Gray Lodge, right there all the time. Go walk down to Chicky and Pete's, then go to the Devon, go to the Mayfair Mall. I worked in the Mayfair Mall for a lot of years, man. Had a lot of good memories down there on Frankfurt Ave. So shout out Art History 101 for doing tremendous things all the time. It says, I'm aging myself. Kev says Michael Zordich, exactly, man. Michael Zordich was always flying around, had a nose for the ball. And again, that's what these safeties do, man. And if they could just teach them to be disciplined, it's a different style in the NFL nowadays, right? You have to learn how to not only hit the right way, but cover the right way. You can't guess too much. Players are really, really good. So I think he can be molded. And again, man, if he's playing this well, like Javon said right now, just imagine what he's going to be next year. Because again, I'm done with the Epps experiment, to be honest with you. No disrespect, but I don't think Epps belongs on this team. So we can, we have to sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. That has to be a priority. So you team him up out there again with the Reed Blankenship. You have a healthy Avonte Maddox. I'll tell you what, man. Sky's the limit for the secondary. It really is. If they can find a way to hold on to Bradbury for like a 3-year deal of big money, I'll tell you, man, we could be dealing with another 1 or 2 years of this for sure. Yeah, now we're talking memories, baby. Devon Theater, man. The Devon Theater. My God, did I spend a lot of time. Too much time, to be honest with you, at the Devon Theater. I actually used to walk the avenue. Back in the day, there was a card shop that was literally right next to the Devon Theater that I would visit all the time. Would always visit that card shop. The guy's name was Lou. Old guy Lou, looked like Wilford Brimley from Our House. If you remember that show, remember Our House? I'm showing my age on Sunday nights. Wilford Brimley looked like Lou from the sports card shop. I used to be in there all the time, man. So it was great time, man. Great memories in Northeast Philly. That's for sure. Rich says, do you think if they win a chip, or do you think some of the guys will come back for a discount to win? It's going to be interesting. It is. One thing I will say is I never doubt Howie anymore, right? We've talked about this before where Howie Roseman, week in and week out, year after year, how does he get out of the contract? How did he eat a dead cap number of $20 million for Carson Wentz and still field a competitive team? How does Howie do it, man? How does Howie do it? So I have faith in Howie now. Controlling the cap is a huge deal. I mean, I heard a stat today, a number, and this is something that you will never, ever see on the Philadelphia Eagles. The number I heard today, the cap hit next year for the Arizona Cardinals for Kyler Murray is $97 million. $97 million cap hit for the Arizona Cardinals next year when it comes to Kyler Murray. That's called irresponsible when you're managing the cap. And that's why I always say I never put it past Howie. And, he can sign guys. We've said this before. How many times have we go, how is Howie signing all these guys, right? Everybody always wants to assume that a guy like Miles Sanders is going to be gone. Do they value the running back position at that kind of money? Probably not. But I think there's a happy medium that they can employ to make the player happy as well as the team. I think that happens. I think you see Jalen Hurts take the same path as Tom Brady. Remember, Tom Brady, for as much as people hate him, the reason why the New England Patriots were able to be so competitive year after year is because Tom Brady, he got paid very handsomely, but he never demanded to be that number one guy. He always took that little bit of a discount because Tom Brady was smart. He knew if he could take the discount, that's only going to help him. And that's what I never understood. When you're a quarterback, right? I get it. You deserve to get paid. Listen, I worked in a union for many, many years. I understand how it works, right? You have to think of the union leadership, right? You have to think of the union brotherhood. So you're always talking about market value. So you're talking about the players union, right? The players union want you to get top dollar for everything that you have, right? It's always the case. But what happens is when you're a quarterback, you have to think about it, right? I understand top dollar, but you understand that $3 to $4 million a year makes so much of a difference when you're trying to build a competitive team, when you're trying to build a Super Bowl winner, okay? And you're only helping yourself because that means better protection around you from the offensive line. That means better talent from the receiver and the tight end position. That means better talent behind you. That also means better talent on the defensive side of the ball that not only helps you in games, but helps you practice against to become a better player, right? So you have to think about that. And I know 100% that Jalen Hurts is already thinking about that. I don't think Jalen Hurts will ever be the top player in the NFL paid from the quarterback position. Not because he doesn't deserve it, because I don't think he'll allow it to be that, because he wants to bring these guys back. Is he going to take a discount, a huge discount? No, absolutely not. But he doesn't have to. Like I said, $3 to $4 million a year over the course of probably a 6-year deal or a 5-year deal. You're talking about $30-40 million. Okay, that can buy a lot of defensive leadership. That could buy a lot of defensive talent. Okay, so at the end of the day, you're only helping yourself if you can take some kind of a discount. Rich says Brady always took less to get another guy to field a better team. That's the reason why Gronk played there so many years, right? Gronk was able to make the money because Brady always gave it up, right? Because he knew. Listen, I think about it, guys. Think about it. What is the difference between $46 million a year or $50 million a year, right? I know it's easy for us to say, but really, what is the difference? Like 1 year of $46 million sets you for the rest of your life. I mean, so at the end of the day, does it really matter? Does that extra $4 million matter? The extra $5 million matter? I really don't think so. I don't. But again, do they deserve it? Absolutely. But, should they take a discount? I'm not sure. In my, or I should say, will they take a discount? I'm not sure. Should they take a discount? In my opinion, I think that's a discount that they all should think about taking, because look what happened this year in Green Bay. Look what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wanted to be the top dog and get paid like the top dog. What did that do? That forced his best offensive weapon out of town at Devontae Adams. What did Aaron Rodgers do? Had one of the down years of his career. Where are the Green Bay Packers right now? Sitting at home watching the NFC Championship game on TV. Case in point, right? So a lot of interesting things when we talk about money. A lot of interesting things talking about money. But listen, we just hit an hour right here. If you're just tuning in or you've been tuning in, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, if you could, when this is over, if you haven't already, go to youtube.com, go in the search, type The Final Judgment with Tony Cutillo. It will come up instantaneously. Hit the subscribe button to the page. You will see not only the post games that I do, but you will see the fantastic interviews that I do with different beat reporters all over the city and beyond. I have some wrestling interviews that I'll be doing next week as well. I'm a big wrestling guy. Obviously, we got Royal Rumble season coming up, which is exciting. I talk about all 4 sports and beyond. You'll see some fantasy sports content on there, so sports betting content. And again, make sure you're checking out Sirius tomorrow night, channel 87XM. Again, be hosting the Win Daily Show. My boy Jason again tomorrow night from 9 to 12, checking out Eagles Talk, obviously talking about previewing the playoffs for the following week, the divisional or the championship round. It's talking about what happened in the divisional round today. So a lot of good things going on when it comes to football talk. Adam says the Jigsaw Hour, always fun. Great job. I appreciate it, buddy. My man Eric says, so can you sway some upfront bonus money to offset the contract to help the team? That's something I don't understand. Yes, you can do that, but here's a problem, Eric. Those numbers are what actually bring the cap number up, right? So, that's 100% guaranteed money. So that big guarantee comes right off the cap, right up front. So, you can employ a method to where you give the big that big guarantee money, right? The guarantee money up front, and again, because the way how he structures these deals, he's allowed to do that and, be able to take year 2 or 3 before that money catches up. And then you see, he tends to restructure. I think one guy that's really in for restructuring will probably be Darius Slay. I don't think they're going to pay what his money is worth. I mean, he's worth it, but I don't think they're going to pay him that number next year. I think they'll try to restructure. They get him more money up front to allow the number to go down later on when Jalen Hurts' number goes up. So they'll probably backload Hurts. They'll probably upload some other guys, and it'll kind of all come out in a wash. Hardest working guy in the biz, my man, Rich. I work hard, brother. You know that. I try. I don't know if I have any more energy left at the end of every night. I crash. But again, I'm driven. I love it. You guys are tremendous support. I love everybody being there, from the Win Daily Sports family, from the Heat Ratio Sports family, obviously, from all the new connections that I meet. Which is a fantastic, from all the supporters out there. I can't thank you enough. Eric says, brother, man, go Birds. Absolutely. Nice to be here together through all these good times. Glad to see you out with your boys. Keep up the great sports education. Man, you know how we roll, man. You got it. You got it. You got to spend that family time, man. These kids, man, I can't believe I'm going to have another one in college next year. They are grown. They grow so goddamn fast. Time is precious. I will say, give a rest in peace, to a guy, that I work with, who will remain nameless, but unfortunately, you never know when your time is gone. He went into work one day, he suffers a massive heart attack unexpectedly, at the age of 37, leaves, leaves a beautiful wife behind, gone too young. So time is precious, man. Time is precious. So you just never know. It gives you a whole different mindset, a whole different mindset. What I always say is, man, live for today, because you never know when it's going to be your last, and every day above ground is a good day. So make sure it counts. Tell your loved ones you love them every day. Make sure you make that phone call. Never make yourself too busy. Right. I always say that. One thing I pride myself, never make yourself too busy. I'll be honest with you. I'll be down. I'm down here a lot. I call this my lab, whether I'm doing stuff for public relations for my PR company, whether I'm doing stuff for the radio, whether I'm doing stuff for podcasting, doesn't matter, right? But sometimes my kids will come down and be like, Dad, are you busy? Can you talk? Man, that's when this microphone goes up, and that's when the ears are ready to listen. So make sure, if you're a father out there, even if you're not a father, you have a father, you have a mother, make sure you make that phone call. Make sure you make that text message. Make sure you stay in contact, because the next day is never given, man. Next day is never given. So on that note, again, I want to appreciate everybody that checked in tonight, everybody that follows, everybody that subscribed, everybody that likes the page. If you haven't done so, do it, please. I will be back here next weekend on Postgame once again, breaking everything down. We will be talking Royal Rumble, again, WWE. I cannot wait. One of my favorite times of year. And the Eagles are in the NFC Championship game. The NFC Championship game. Let that sink in. Whether it be Dallas, whether it be San Francisco, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because we are taking it to the house once again. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds. Remember, some people have thoughts, some people have takes. On this show, you get the final judgment.